I had an experience recently in a restaurant where a man dressed as a woman walked into the toilet. So I was on my own in the toilets. He stood behind me and stared at me into the mirror, looking at me in my eyes. Now, I have no idea if he intended me any harm, but my instinct, my evolved instinct as a woman was to be frightened, because unlike almost any other species, women are far less powerful than men. We can't defend ourselves. That's why we have... No, it's a fact. The difference in strength between men and women is phenomenal. That's why we have separate sex categories for sport. Women are evolved to be wary of men in intimate spaces. That's why we have single-sex spaces. They must continue to exist for the safety and privacy of women. This threatens that social contract. Finally, it threatens the understanding of our law, which should be based on fact. And you cannot change your sex any more than you can change your place of birth or who your parents are. Now, I fully understand the complex arguments involved in this, and we should treat it with compassion. But if the law is not based on fact, then how can we trust the law? That is why the government is absolutely right to serve this notice.
Order. Lloyd Russell-Moyle.
Goodness me, that speech was probably one of the worst transphobic dog whistle speeches that I've heard in an awful long time. The idea of linking trans people with predators, frankly, is disgusting, and you should be ashamed.
No, calm down. Yes.
No.
Lloyd Russell-Moyle.
Way to you, or anyone else, to the honourable member. Now, on the substance of this, ignoring that horrible speech that we have just heard, actually...
Order, Peter Bottomley.
Did the chair hear anything transphobic in the previous speech?
I have to say to the Father of the House that, different colleagues, different members of this House are going to interpret speeches in different ways. And I suggest that what we do is move on quickly.
Let me just tell you very, very carefully, you MPs, you gutless MPs. I watched that prepubescent bearded man stand up in Parliament and say some most awful things. I don't even know the name of the Speaker of the House. She left no impression upon me apart from, how'd you get the job, love? Was it a quota? Because I don't see any strength of character in how you dealt with that. I thought it was most unparliamentarian to scream and shout at a woman and accuse her of things in the House of Commons. I think it's absolutely quite revolting that he was allowed to get away with it. But, dear electorate, £80,000 these people get. Each and every one of you women that cares about this issue, those gutless cowards, overpaid cowards, get £80,000+ to say absolutely nothing when a woman stands up to defend women's rights. And how many people stood up in support of her? Hardly bloody any. And who did? Conservative men. So, to you left-wing feminists who've done a dire job of trying to do anything in Labour, if you've been paying money to some of the left-wing women that claim to work on your behalf, ask yourself what they've done. Because as far as I can see, they've done absolutely nothing. I don't care about quiet little chats in the back room. It's not doing anything. There's not a single person in Labour, apart from Rosie Duffield, that is willing to stand up for women. You can kick the arse of Labour. I don't care. They ain't feeling it. They're not changing. Nothing is happening in the Labour Party.